Welcome into That's Boxing. How you doing, Coach? How you feeling this morning?
I'm good, Dust. I'm feeling real good. How about yourself?
I feel like we should have changed our theme music to like whatever you play at funerals.
Oh, man.
I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for Wilder. I'm still feeling it. I'm embarrassed to admit how sad I am for him.
Yeah, nobody's really talking about Zhang here. The whole story of the weekend was the ending of the career of Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, which I hate because I really like Zhang. Zhang is, for a couple of years, has been kind of my dark horse candidate to sneak up and win the title, snatch him off somebody. I love his story. I think I'd bang you.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I made him Russian.
Very hilarious. I didn't know that he was living and training out of New Jersey now. That was interesting to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. But yeah, the story is obviously Wilder was diminished. So not a lot of people talking about Zhang's performance because Wilder was just there to get banged out.
It just feels like no diddy. Feels like the end of an era. Well, for those that might not have caught the funeral, Zhang KOs Wilder in the 5th round. It was kind of a weird fight where Zhang throws the least punches of any boxer in all of boxing, and Wilder's not too far behind him. So it's like feeling out. They're both basically aware of each other's power, kind of circling each other, nothing going on.
Well, the size difference was apparent from the bell.
70 pounds.
Like
he outweighed
crazy.
him by.
Wilder looked so small in there.
Yeah.
And he was using that lead arm just to try to keep some space and kind of skipping around the ring, trying to get away. And as soon as every exchange fired off, it was just edge of your seat, just stress.
Yeah.
Like something's going to happen.
Yep. And it seemed like they felt that, and then all of a sudden in that 5th round, Zhang caught him with, I think, a lead hook, turned him around in this really weird way, right, where Wilder spun around, had his back to him, and then he looked like he was trying to say something to the ref, like complain, and Zhang just followed up with him and caught him right from behind with a clean hook, and that was it.
Protect yourself at all times, you know. He was out on his feet when that happened, I think. I don't know what that reaction was, looking towards the ref or just looking around, but all that silly shit he does in his training videos when he's doing little pirouettes and spinning around the ring and stuff, man, those memes are going to come back to haunt him now because he literally got spun around like a top in there.
You're exactly right. That's my whole news feed this morning is just people juxtaposing his training where he's, doing these fancy, almost Loma-esque, but even more exaggerated spin moves to get behind people. And it's like maybe that's what... Maybe he was flustered from the punch and then he reverted to his training, right? And is like, oh, we do this spin thing, right? Oh, no, it didn't work.
That's why we don't fuck around in boxing, you know? There's never a point in a competition where your back should be to the opponent. So there should never be a point in your training when your back is to your opponent.
What if you've got the Ryan Garcia defense?
Well, he's a special case. He's a special boy.
Changing the game, man.
Yeah, he's a special boy.
Well, all right, you're right. Let's have a positive spin on this for Zhang. He's a great story, great dude. Gets the win, kind of revitalizes his career. Up next, I assume, is the Parker rematch?
Yeah, maybe the Parker rematch, or I don't know, maybe he gets in there with Hrgovic. Maybe Hrgovic.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And then somebody's going to fight Joshua. Joshua was real, tentative. He was like, yeah, it could be Zhang, it could be Doubois. He didn't want to rule out Wilder. Which I was like, oh, that's interesting. I guess maybe you want to fight Wilder now.
Wilder's always going to have a name.
Yeah.
But he should get himself out of the game.
Yeah. He should get himself out of the game and into a leg press machine. That's what he needs.
Well, yeah, man, that was a tough watch to watch the big guy go down. But we could see it coming. His body language wasn't right in his last fight. It wasn't great in this fight either. It did not look like he was ready. And he tried to throw that right hand, and he got it out there a couple times. But it wasn't doing the damage it used to do. And he's just so susceptible to getting hit. When he got countered, he was throwing his right hand, and his left hand just dropped down into his left pocket, and that right hook came across and smacked him.
Well, I feel like at this point it's the end for Wilder. It probably should be. You can't expect somebody to have that same fire and same passion for the sport when you're coming up and trying to make the name for yourself. He's achieved a lot, a tremendous amount, given a ton to the sport, gave us some amazing fights. I hate that people talk shit about his boxing ability. I don't think you get an Olympic gold, an Olympic bronze medal, with no boxing ability, or get 41 knockouts in the sport and defend your title for whatever it was, 5+ years. Obviously he's a non-traditional late starter. All those things are true, but he's a tremendous boxer and a tremendous champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll be remembered for his accomplishments. Nobody talks about Tyson's late career. Most people don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
They just remember the young, hungry Iron Mike. And I think that's how we'll remember Wilder in the long term, too. We'll remember the Bomb Squad for what he accomplished in his amazing trilogy with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, well, one of the best trilogies ever.
Yeah.
Well, that was the crowning jewel for Queensberry Promotions, who just frickin' swept this thing.
Dude, Eddie Hearn crying big old tears, man.
Yeah, that was rough. But we got the call right on this one, under 6.5 rounds.
Yes,
that
we
was
did.
not looking good for the first couple rounds.
I know. I thought, wow, 12 rounds of this.
Yeah. Whoever had Zhang by stoppage was like, or by decision was like, this is going great for me.
Yeah.
But nope. But a call that we got wrong that I'm actually I'm okay with is Doubois. Doubois stops Hrgovic in round 8. Pretty incredible, impressive performance. Awesome dude, awesome fighter. Really glad to see that we got this one wrong and kind of the better man as a person. I think Hrgovic was just talking so much shit in the lead up to this fight. You know?
And he got in some trouble for like kissing some female reporter a couple years ago. I think people forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
He just like grabbed hold of this woman and laid one on her. Like, you can't be doing that, bro. So yeah, the right guy won for sure. I got it wrong. I'll admit I was wrong. I thought he was going to show up and do better. It looked like a 4-round fighter in there. That's what Hrgovic looked like. A guy had about 4 rounds worth of boxing in him.
Yep.
Because he started strong and he was looking real good and landing a lot of right hands, but he wasn't finishing it up with the hook and he wasn't moving around. He was just kind of standing there and throwing heavy shots and looked content to absorb whatever he thought was coming back. But there was some real artillery getting fired back at him.
Yeah.
And it added up to the stoppage.
Yeah, by the 3rd round, it looked to me like the roles coming into the fight were reversed, where everyone thought it was going to be Hrgovic just putting on this master class. He's this amazing boxer, but no. By 3rd round onward, Doubois was using his feet, had head movement, was coming in low, just looked like the better boxer. Hrgovic looked like he was gassed out, and Doubois just put that damage together until dude was falling apart.
And it showed the importance of a corner, too. Dubois' corner was telling him specific instructions. Double the jab before you throw the right hand. He went out there and did it, right? And then in Hrgovic's corner, he gets cut, and I'm watching the cut man struggle to get his equipment together as the seconds are ticking by. I don't think he got the medicine on that cut till maybe 15 seconds before the break was over. Because when you're cut above the eye, underneath your eyebrow, you have to be really careful applying the medicine there because it can drip into the eye. Now, the adrenaline is not going to blind you like some of the old chemicals they used to use that have been outlawed now, but you still don't want that shit in your eye, and you don't want the blood in the eye. So you have to put some kind of protection underneath your medicine. And you can see the guy kind of struggling to get his gauze and stuff together. And it's just a lesson to all the cutmen to be ready for cuts under both eyes, right above the eyeball. Those are terrible cuts to get in the fight and hard to work with in the corner. So.
Right. Interesting commentary because it's kind of the fight within the fight. It's like the pit crew in NASCAR.
100%, man. You got to change those tires out and get them back in there for another lap.
Yeah. I will say, obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but looking back on this fight, I think, I read into the same narrative a lot of people did, which was Hrgovic's pedigree. And when you look at, kind of the level of competition, the level of activity, which is not very active, maybe some of that was unfounded. And on the other side, right, you kind of read into the Usyk stoppage of Doubois and maybe think he doesn't have heart, and it's easy to embellish that narrative. But I think both of those are flipped 180, and that's the best thing about this sport. All it takes is one fight.
Yeah, he's always been a contender, but now he really put himself in there in the top, 5 or 10 heavyweights. He's going to get a shot at Anthony Joshua probably here at Wembley later this year.
Yeah. I love that fight. That's a great fight. I mean, I still got AJ, but Doubois, his stock is soaring right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a great domestic war between those two guys, and we'll be watching that one for sure. Hopefully they make that.
So between both of those, I think they got 2 points for stoppages, right? So that was 4 points for Queensberry. Moving on to one that wasn't on the 5x5, Bivol looks like the T1000 decides after 6 years, I'm going to get my first knockout. I heard Dust put some money on the on the decision. I'll go ahead and stop this guy.
At first I was critical of him watching the fight live, thinking, what are you doing, Bivol? Like, you're just standing there flat-footed. You're just getting hit clean, and if he wouldn't have got that knockdown in the first round, he would have lost that round. He was getting out punched easy. Yeah. And the dude was looking confident and using he was talking shit and all the little, kind of like, action in between rounds, trying to get in Bivol's head. But and looking back at it now, thinking about it, I realized Bivol did what he had to do to adjust his style to win that fight. That he got flat-footed. He took out that Bivol bounce because he didn't need to fight this guy at long range. This guy was actually taller than him with a longer lead hand. Mm-hmm. If he would have been trying to kind of use that bounce and that fencing style, they would have been there all night long.
Yeah. I don't know if that would have been better for him, though, is to get 12 rounds, almost view it as, no offense to Zanat, a conditioning exercise, because the question now is, if the Beterbiev fight is up next, that's the opposite style. He needs to go back to vintage Bivol in order to beat him.
Yes, I think that's very true. You don't want to lean in and get heavy on your front foot against a guy like Beterbiev. He stuck his left foot just like so confidently right up inside this guy's stance. He just stuck his left foot up there and put his high guard up. Bivol did, and then took a few punches and then gave it back and had much cleaner, more powerful punches.
Yeah, Bivol looked like, before the fight even started, like from the bell, he understood this is not. I don't need to be me to win this. I'm just going to be somebody else. Is basically what it seemed like. And you're right. He had no Bivol bounce, none of the in and out movement. Kind of threw his defense out the window and just kind of walked the guy down, and felt like he knew he was going to get the better of all those exchanges and be more powerful, which is just the antithesis of Bivol. Crazy.
Yeah, he took some clean shots in there, but he took them well. So, I'm not sure if he'll be able to take shots like that off Beterbiev. We'll see. I don't know, man.
No way.
I think Bivol's career has just been kind of fucked up for a while now. He fought Canelo, who was one of the best in the world. And what has he done since? Hardly anything, Zurdo, and that other guy.
A lot of lackluster decisions where he looks solid, right, as a boxer, but he cemented himself as that evasive, boxer.
Yeah, but typically, though, when you go and beat a guy who's world-class like that, you only ever fight world-class guys again, right? Like, look at Loma or Usyk or anybody, or even like a Ryan Garcia. Once you reach the top, you're not supposed to come back down and fight Zanads. And who was that guy who fought last time? I keep forgetting his name.
Zurdo?
No. In between Zurdo and this one, there was another one.
You're right. Yeah. But some of that's not his fault. Obviously, you're supposed to fight the best in the division this fight, right? But Beterbiev gets hurt, and it's not really that stacked a division. There's not a lot of name recognition there. I mean, so Turkey comes out at the end of the fight and says, "Hey, October 12th for sure, it's happening." Beterbiev. After that, he says, "I want to see you in there with Jai Optai and Benavidez." Yes.
No. Now we're talking. Those are even Optai is not really a big name outside of real boxing heads, but.
But that's a right guy for him to fight. Benavidez wasn't even in the division, or it really isn't in the division until June 15th. So, maybe there haven't been names for him, to fight and kind of prove himself. But it'll be interesting. I mean, the biggest test coming October 12th. And we said last time, that's my number one fight that I want to see.
What do you think? Who are you picking on that now after this recent performance?
Beterbiev. Absolutely. Yeah. In a funny way,
for me.
In a funny way, I'm even more bullish on Beterbiev now because Bivol just showed a style that he can't even use in that fight. So I'm like, are you thinking you're gonna fight like that? I assume not. I think he's much smarter than that. But it doesn't give him any stock increase to me the way that he handled that fight.
No. I don't think anybody's gonna walk away from that thinking he's ready for Beterbiev in a better way than he was before. We're expecting him to go back to what he did against Canelo.
Absolutely.
That's the guy we need to see show up to put on a good fight. But even that guy, I don't think can beat Arthur unless Beterbiev's injuries have been too much and he's going to be too diminished by the time the bell rings.
He's a different fighter. That's a different, I can't evaluate a fighter we haven't seen, right? But I think if this fight had happened 3 or 4 years ago, Bivol would have taken it. But I think actually Beterbiev's gotten to be a better boxer over that time. Amazingly, this late in his career, his defense has improved, his ability to cut the ring off has improved, and I think those two things combined will diminish Bivol's offense and diminish his defense, his ability to use his footwork and kind of be evasive enough and allow Beterbiev to get inside, and he only needs a second in there to end the fight, and he'll find a way to get that second somewhere in the first 7-8 rounds.
Oh, wow. Okay. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight. Well, moving on to the Queensberry Massacre, number 3, Shiraz gets the stoppage, looked crisp and clean, levels above, just picked him apart.
Yeah, that was a real masterclass in boxing, man. He did get cracked there in the second round, and he looked a little bit out on his feet, but great recovery and good game plan adjustment. And once he went to that high guard, it was impenetrable.
Yeah.
You could
didn't have an
hear
answer for it.
Williams' corner begging him, "This is not what we practice in the gym. You're supposed to be bobbing and weaving." And the kid he couldn't do it.
No. No, just outclassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, just had too much on him.
Yeah, and then, they told him, they were honest with their kid. They said, you're going to need a knockout to win this fight. And when he went out there looking for it, and he got what he was looking for. Came right back at him, and he got KO'd. I mean, I was saying throw the towel in 2 rounds before that.
Yeah, you were texting me that. I thought he still had kind of that. He still had a shot. He looked like he was still putting together, strong enough punches that he had a puncher's chance, but he was taking a lot of damage. And
Jeez, even those jabs, man, they were just rocking his head back over and over again. I was like, fuck, bro.
It was a great fight. Number 4 for Queensberry, maybe the fight of the night. I don't know. Maybe Doubois took it, but Nick Ball gets the split decision, captures Ray Ford's featherweight title. Great fight. Amazing fight, start to finish. I was on the edge of my seat. I loved it.
Yeah, I missed it live. I had to watch it back. I actually watched it again this morning. And, man, we almost got that pick wrong. Ford was really in it, and he could argue that he won it. It was really close. I mean, one of the judges thought he won it. But I think you got to go with the guy who put the pressure on, and he was throwing real nice combinations. They weren't all landing, but then he would punctuate it with that uppercut. And that uppercut was spliced through there. And Ford was using, styles make fights. Ford was using this kind of stick and pick and stand style, and he never really got momentum going.
Yeah, he put together. I think Ford came on a little late. Found his range, found his feet. He was kind of, like you said, sniping those brutal shots. More effective, but more economic. Just landing less. And he definitely put together, maybe 4 or 5 rounds of that he kind of banked in the mid fight. But he lost so many early rounds, and I think kind of faded towards the end that it just wasn't enough to put together a decisive points victory.
Yeah, there was no momentum, not enough points scored in succession, just working in these little spots. And he didn't look hurt too bad. I think he hurt Ball a couple times in the 7th round with big left hands, but
probably broke his nose. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, but the kid kept coming. It only made him stronger, and you got to give it to him. Now, I don't know if you saw this today, but Ford saying he's done at 126, going up to 130. Said he'll rematch Ball up there at 130 if he wants it. Yeah. And now Ball is saying he wants to go get the rematch with the fight he got the draw with a little bit back with
Vargas
with Vargas for the WBC belt.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he kind of got robbed on that one, and I agree. Ball has an unbelievable motor, maybe the best motor in boxing, because someone that fights with his style, you expect them to get shocked when the guy's still standing after 6 rounds and shocked that they have to keep doing anything. But he's not. He just, no, this is how I fight. And how many rounds is it? 25 rounds? No problem. That's what he looked like.
Yeah, and that's I think what Ford was struggling with. He was expecting the kid to slow down and give him more chances to do what he wanted to do. He wasn't able to create his own openings. In the gym we say this sometimes. We say, don't wait for an opening, create an opening. And Ford was waiting too long for things to happen for him. If he would have worked his jab a little bit more, put together some more combinations, maybe been a little bit rougher on the inside instead of waiting for things to stop.
Yeah,
he did that kind of like, I got a good strong guard and you can hit me all you want and I'll just wait till you stop.
Right,
and that's not enough. You got to smother the guy or hit him with a counterpunch a little sooner than you let this guy fire off a 6-punch combination that looks really pretty. Might not have hurt you, but it looks like a guy's winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, he looks like a smaller Pitbull. Pitbull Cruz, kind of similar style. And Ball had, I think, my favorite punch I've ever seen, which is just employing this dug down twist lead uppercut, where he would just flip it inside the guard. So Ford would have his high guard up, real defensive shelled up, and Ball would throw something down the middle, block, and then just twist, lean forward over his left knee, and then uppercut right in between there and just pop his head up. And it looked vicious and brutal, and he would throw it in combination in the middle of a 4-punch combination. Beautiful.
Yeah, Ford should have countered him before he got there, with a good chopping left hand, but it's all right. The right guy won. It was an entertaining fight. Nobody's too salty about the decision. Ford sounds like he was killing himself to make 126, so up he goes to 130, and we'll see what he can do up there.
Yeah, and a great fight, so hats off to him. I mean, I'm sure it hurts to lose your first defense, so the first title you get, but not the right weight class, and, split decision. No shame in that. The fight before that, Hutchinson leveled Richardson, gets a wide unanimous decision that put Queensberry on the map. So Queensberry with a clean sweep, and that's Boxing Podcast, 3 out of 5 for our picks. Not terrible.
Not terrible, especially when most of the fights were competitive.
Yeah.
And the ones that we picked were the obvious winners. we got Bivol wrong based on the outcome, but we got the obvious winner. Shiraz
Sure.
I thought was going to be the obvious winner.
Mm-hmm.
I really got the Hrgovic one wrong, but it is what it is.
So did everybody.
Yeah.
That was a shocker. But not a bad night. Kind of a bad night for crowds. I think looking around, every time they had a wide shot, I was like, are there maybe like 30, 40 people there in attendance? I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, they can't compete with their own event they just had however long ago with the Ring of Fire.
Last weekend.
That's just crazy.
Well, that was 2 weekends ago, right?
Yeah, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah. Still just nuts to me. I don't know what's going on in Saudi Arabia.
Dude, it's out of control. I think it's a little strange, We got, Turkey, he gets Anthony Joshua there sitting beside him like his pet, He's like, this is my big friend. I pay him to sit next to me. I'm like, and then he gets in the ring and he gets mic time more than some of the fighters.
That was so funny when he's like grabbing Bivol's kids and he's like, come stand next to me. This is a big night for your father. Kisses their heads.
It's like, this is just bizarre. I mean, I get it. He's funding all of this and they're making this happen, but it's just bizarre to me. It just feels like some weird world.
It's very surreal. I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. I love it.
Yeah, people are saying
keep doing your thing.
It's the new, Saudi's the new capital of boxing. Forget about Vegas. I'm like, no. Vegas is 2 hours away on an airplane.
It's the capital of boxing because it's paying to be, not because it organically is.
Right.
Like the fans, the people that want to. And I think he gets that, right? He's putting on his first fight at the O2 Arena, outside of Saudi, obviously. And then second fight in L.A., August 3rd with Crawford.
Yeah, they're taking the show on the road. That is a good point.
Yeah, and I think if, sometime we should get into why this is happening in boxing and what their motivation is. But I assume on a cursory level, it's to raise the profile of Saudi Arabia, right? Partly as a destination place, but also just as kind of a culturally relevant force in the world. That's why they're doing all the golf stuff, right? But I don't know that it's all to increase tourism. So in that sense, it's actually better to do it on the road and get a ton of people in a crowd and then be able to say, thank you, Saudi Arabia, for, play the Saudi Arabian national anthem. Talk about normalizing another country and culture. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Very cool. And I'm looking forward to what they can do in the future. I don't know if I'll ever get over how strange the visual of it is.
Yeah, it looks like they're fighting during COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody wants to train there and shit out there in the desert,
Yeah.
So maybe they'll have their own champions come up. The kids growing up there that are looking at this going, oh, damn, I want to grow up and be one of those guys. And then we'll have a Saudi Arabian heavyweight champion someday.
Mm-hmm.
But Turkey does seem like a true boxing fan. You got to give him respect for that.
I love it. He's doing what I would do if I had X billion dollars.
Hey, speaking of billions of dollars, did you hear about Tyson Paul?
Oh, yeah, so the fight's postponed.
Yes.
Right? 'Cause,
hopefully forever.
Yeah, just into perpetuity.
And you see they canceled the whole event.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They're not just going to move it all to the different dates?
I guess that whenever they get cleared for the old man to fight again. But I saw the lady boxers are out, and I was like, man, they should have just let them have the date. But obviously the draw was this freak show. That's why they were putting it on Netflix, and so the whole thing is just a bust.
Yeah.
And it should have been. It should have never been allowed to happen in the first place. So I'm happy. It's not happening, and hopefully it never does.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. It's just one of those fights that even if you let yourself kind of get excited about it, it's going to be disappointing. That's not how boxing works. It's not going to be a good fight with big padded gloves and 2-minute rounds, and it's not the sport. I don't want to see it.
No.
Other boxing news, Tim Tszyu is out of his fight August 3rd with Virgil Ortiz. Doctor said just his cut is not healing up and is not going to be ready to spar and can't get it done in time. So
that's crazy. It must be terrible because you're sparring with headgear on, especially up protecting your forehead.
Yeah.
So even the impact is probably splitting it back open again. I don't know. That's man.
I guess so. I mean, he was cut.
He was gashed, bro, like a hatchet wound on his fucking forehead.
Yeah, it was bad. So who's Ortiz going to fight? Ryan Garcia throws his hat in the ring. I assume it's a joke, but I would love to see that fight on there just to.
Wow. I don't know if all the Osterine in the world can help him against somebody.
They should let him just shoot up if he takes that fight.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's too bad, man. Ortiz's career has definitely been plagued, man. This guy can't get in the ring consistently.
Yeah.
Either he's hurting or the other guy's hurting.
They'll find somebody for him, though, don't you think?
Oh, sure, yeah. They'll pull somebody up, but it won't be that. It won't be the potential classic that we had there lined up with him and Zoo. Their styles were going to be amazing together.
Who could step in? Who'd be good at 154? Charlo?
I don't know if Charlo is even active. I can't keep track of which one, but one of the other ones always getting in trouble.
Yeah. Who else at 154? I mean, Fundora. I guess Fundora is trying to fight Spence.
Yeah, that looked like that's Spence's comeback fight.
I think they'll put in the dude whose name I always forget, who just fought Mendoza to a decision. He had like 100% knockout rate, and he's got an Eastern European name.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. I don't know who they'll pull up, though. We'll see. 154, man, it's another division that's kind of in between.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see who can come up out of the shadows there. Hopefully they get a good fight.
I want to look it up.
Yeah, you got to look that name up, man. We got to get your name memorization like flashcards.
Oh, come on, man. Don't make this like school for me. This is my...
We'll have a picture on one side and the name on the other, and we'll do a little memory game. See, can you remember these Eastern European boxers' names?
Hey, you don't remember his name. Where's your flashcards?
Dude, I don't have to do it. You're the guy with the notes.
True.
I'm just running off the top of the dome here. Like, that's how I do it.
I can't have notes for every scenario, you know?
Oh, you should.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you a professional? Or
no
aren't you?
excuses. I'm literally not a professional.
No, yes.
That Kim Jong Grill and sponsorship only goes so far. Bohocek, that's his name.
Okay, Boychuk.
Yeah, Bohocek. I could see that. I could see, and you know, he fought Tim Tszyu. That's his only loss, I believe.
Yeah, pull him up. That'd be all right.
Yeah,
that'd
be a great fight.
Now that card is crazy stacked already. So that if that isn't end up being, you know, a great opponent for Ortiz, we're still looking forward to the rest of the matches on that.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty wild.
Kind of anybody's a great opponent for Ortiz because you're just trying to count. You know, you're trying to hold your breath to see how long it takes for him to knock him out.
Yeah, man, that guy, he throws his jab like he's trying to hurt you with it.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. All right, let's look forward to fights coming up this weekend. Obviously, next weekend after next, we've got Davis Martin and Benavidez Gvozdyk. But coming up this weekend, there's like 5 or 6 different fights. I think the most exciting, is Zayas versus Teixeira. I think that's how you say the guy's name.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. A little Puerto Rican Day pride.
Yeah, the kid's his big chance to headline an event. This fight was originally scheduled for a few months ago. It got bumped to a main event. So this is a big deal for the kid. Puerto Rican Pride Day parade and all that, and fighting at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be a big deal. That's going to be the story of the fight. And you know how these top-ranked cards are. You know who to bet for.
Yeah. That's my new thing. Anytime a top-ranked card, I just do the parlay on all the top-ranked fighters.
Yeah, Bob doesn't fuck around with
it. It works like 7 out of 10 times.
Hey, speaking of top-ranked, have you heard that De La Hoya challenged Aram to a Golden Boy versus top-ranked 5 versus 5 in Vegas?
I like that.
So
that's
now,
pretty good.
Now, what's the 5 versus 5?
Oh, man, I'd have to go look at all their stables.
You have to break it down.
See.
Who they got in a heavyweight at Golden Boy? Do they even have a heavyweight?
Do they have a heavyweight? Yeah, I don't know.
Because Top Rank's got a couple of them. Obviously, they got our friend Kiki, a friend of the show.
They got Jared Anderson.
They got big Jared Anderson. Then a couple others, you know. And now, who the heck does Golden Boy have? I don't think they even have a heavyweight.
They'll just put Ryan Garcia in there.
He can do everything. He'll do all 5.
Yeah, he'll do all 5. It's just Ryan Garcia versus 5 top-ranked fighters. All right. I mean, listen, I would buy that pay-per-view.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's just an execution.
George Foreman fought 5 guys in a row one time up in
That was
Canada.
embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is fighting on that card? Bruce Shushu.
Shushu.
Carrington is fighting Jose Vivas. That'll be an interesting fight.
Shu York. All right. Yeah, he's entertaining. He's coming up.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. We'll throw some pics out there on the Instagram. If you don't follow us, you should do that right now. I don't know what you're doing with your life. At That's Boxing Podcast. We'll throw some pics up. 3 for 5 this week. You know, not our best work, but you know, solid enough. The kids' college fund is growing
every day.
Anything else we need to talk about, or should we get out of here?
That's it for me, man. We got to get to the gym.
We got to get to the gym. All right, guys. I'm Dust.
I'm Coach.
And that's boxing.